With your host, your brother, your friend, brother Demetrius Knucklezil. I got a special guest coming on here today. One of my friends who this brother, he did survive some stuff. Believe me, he did survive some stuff. And that's why the title of this episode is I Was Sentenced to Die in Prison, Part 2. So he'll be coming on in a minute. Just waiting on him. And he'll be coming on in a minute. And so it's amazing how life works. Because for people like me, people have always counted people like me out. And it's always fascinating to me when I see the look on their face when the moment that they thought I was down. Here we go right here. Stand up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me?
All right, let me make sure I got you in right quick.
All right, back. Yeah.
Make sure I got you in right quick. Get this volume up.
What we on? We on what's this? TikTok or Facebook or?
I think you on mute. Let me make sure.
Okay.
I actually don't think it's you. Now that I think about it.
Can you hear me?
We're gonna do this like this. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, that's what the problem is. All right. So, this is the Great Minds Project 5.0, where I delve into topics such as crime and punishment, criminal justice reform. I talk about things like brothers and sisters coming home from prison and how we could somehow, some way provide some type of resources or get legislative support to provide those resources. And I also talk about one of my main topics is how the infiltration and hijacking of Black and brown culture and how entertainment and politics play a role in the destruction of Black and brown communities. So with us today, we got one of my main mans on here. Came a long way. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. I ain't gonna tell nothing about his story, but I'm gonna pass the mic to you, Jose.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. It's a pleasure, man, to be here with you, bro. I've been wanting to get on here, man. So I'm glad that we're having this opportunity, man, to just have a good discussion. My name is Jose Burgos. I'm a former juvenile lifer, served 27 years here in Michigan. Went in at the age of 16, came home at the age of 43. When I came home, I really, really wanted, man, to do something. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make something good come out of a bad situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I took that very serious. And that's something that I started before I came home. I was involved in some good programs, man, with some good brothers in there, man, that really, really taught me, gave me a lot of knowledge, man, about self, man, and wanting to come out here, man, and just do something right, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is my way, man, of paying back to humanity, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like every time I help a brother, man, that comes home and get on the right path, that's one less person, man, that's out here, man, victimizing our communities. You know what I'm saying? And so that's very important. At the very same time, they're able to get their lives back together, man, and get back on the right path, man. And a lot of them end up giving back to the communities, man. So so I got into that work. I became reentry specialist at State Appellate Defender's Office. So that gave me an opportunity to work with a lot of the brothers, especially juvenile lifers that were in the process of going to court to get resentenced. Watching them go through that whole process, and I got to relive it every time I helped one of them guys, man, that was going through that process. I had an opportunity as well, man, to relive that moment, and not forget, what we went through as children going to prison at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a blessing, man.
So when you got out, what year did you get out?
I got out in 2018, October 2018.
So you got out I think you got out a week after me
Yeah.
because I got out October 2nd, 2018, and it was a wonderful time. And the fascinating thing to me, man, is you know, I look at a lot of brothers that got out with us and a lot of guys who ran their head and said what they was gonna do. And they surprised. I'm not gonna say they surprised us,
Mhm.
but it was fascinating to me to see brothers get out here and do exactly what we said we was gonna do. And be that shining light for so many people because we was counted out so bad, just even as children, we was counted out so bad. So to go through the trials that we went through, you did 27 years, I did 28, and to go through this and come out. I was talking on a podcast the other day. This show is entitled "I Was Sentenced to Die in Prison" Part 2. I did Part 1 for myself, and this is Part 2 for you because you were sentenced to die in prison. And I just want you to tell the audience what went through your mind at 16 years old when you was given life without parole in prison.
Oh man, it was man, when I got sentenced, I was I fought my case for a whole year. So I was in the Wayne County Jail, and they would transfer me back and forth to the county jail, you know what I'm saying, to go to court. So this time when I go to court, this was my sentencing date. When they gave me life without parole, I don't go back to the youth home. Now I stay at the county jail. So I remember, going to that county jail, man, and walking. I'll never forget it, bro. Like walking through that hallway,
Mm,
I can still smell the smell of that hallway. You know what I'm saying? As a child, I got belly chains on. I'm about to go into, the lion's den. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
mentally, man, it was like, this can't be happening. You know what I'm saying? And I remember laying on that bunk once I got to the floor, and I described it. I wrote a little story one time, man, and I described it where I was laying in my bunk, that my eyes were um were like the projector. You know what I'm saying? My mind was like the movie. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And I was looking at the ceiling. The ceiling was like it was like my screen. You know what I'm saying? And like my life was playing out. Over my mind, bro. And I'm looking like, man, I'm about to go to prison, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, it was deep, man. It was deep. You know what I'm saying? And just it really bothered me, man, to think that, you know, does it really take this? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about kids, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not just me going through that, bro, but watching the young brothers, man, that was in the youth home with me also go through the same shit. Like I seen some brothers, man, that went in there at the young age, man, and they really didn't make it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you have some cats, man, that had some really, really hard times in there, man. But it's so hard as a child, man, to grasp shit. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, as young brothers go in there, you know, some get victimized, you know what I'm saying? And we got, there's some of us, man, that, the old heads, man, take us under their wings and they look out for us, bro. And they, they show us the right way. But you got some young brothers that go in there, man, and they become victimized. Um, and it's just deep, man, to see that, man. So it was a hell of an experience, bro, for real.
So at what point did you ever did you ever think that you wasn't getting out of prison?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you why, man. I don't know what it was. I can look back now, bro, and say it might have been God talking to me. You know what I'm saying? But I knew deep down inside when I used to be on that bunk, man, when I was at MR, when I first came down, and I used to be thinking, like, something ain't right about this. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Something
Yeah.
ain't right about this, man. And I don't know how the hell this is gonna get figured out. I don't know who's gonna step up, man, to make this change. You know what I'm saying? But I knew um it was that just that gut feeling, man, like something ain't right about this. So I always kept that in mind, right? As I started my bid, I always kept it in mind. I said, okay, I got a life bid, so I gotta survive here. You know what I'm saying? I gotta survive here, man. And so, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta, when you in the lion's den, man, you gotta become a lion yourself, man. Otherwise, man, you're gonna become prey and you're gonna get ran over. You know what I'm saying?
You
So,
ain't lying,
you
man.
know, so you had to stand, on your 10 toes, but you always had to keep in mind, I want to get out of prison. You know what I'm saying? I want to get out of prison. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to get so deep off into this prison politics, man, that's going to swallow me alive. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing it happen. I don't want to be, I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? So, I did what I did to survive prison, but I knew that the mindset, man, had to be, how the hell am I going to get out of this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. Um, and so
We
that
good.
was it, man. That was, it was just getting ready, man, for a long haul. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know that. I didn't know it was I didn't know when it was gonna be, but I did know that it was gonna be a long time. You know what I'm saying? So mentally I had to prepare myself for that.
It's crazy that you said that, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, somebody asked me this exact same question, and I told them, I said, I don't know what it was, but I knew I wasn't dying in prison. I said, I don't know what the hell it was, but something in me said, and I always told my family this. I said, I'll be out. I'll be out. And so everybody believed what I said because I said it with a certain confidence as if I had some supernatural power to know what was going to happen in my future. And I can also remember just sitting there in my cell and going, I mean, our stories are so, most of us juvenile lifer stories are so similar because we, the stories that we tell is some serious stuff. And a lot of people don't believe a lot of the stories until we actually, they start hearing it from us and it's being repeated by several of us who did all this time. And so my next question would be the same question that was asked to me. How did you how did you actually deal with being so young amongst so many people who was older, whether they was 20 years old, 21, 20? For me, I was around the old heads that was like 45, 50, super predators, been predators for 20 years in prison. That's where I was around. But how did you survive as a, because I remember I seen your picture. You was real small, like I was real small. I weighed like 130, 135. How did you survive that psychological trauma?
Man, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, bro. Um, when I first came down, like I was embraced by the Latino community when I first came down. You know what I'm saying? And some good brothers, man, that really, really, man, um, taught me a lot about how to do time. You know what I'm saying? And because I came down at such a young age with a life sentence, now I can look back and know that they were just trying to groom me, you know what I'm saying, to become,
Yeah.
they knew I was going to be around a while, you know what I'm saying? So they want to make sure, man, that somebody with a level head, man, can be in position of leadership, you know what I'm saying? Um, not, and I'll be, like I said, I'm being transparent here, man. Not always it was on a positive side, you know what I'm saying? Because um, I can look back now and see that there were some things, man, that we were engaged in, man, that really was some BS, you know what I'm saying? But that
Yeah.
happened like at the beginning of my bit, you know what I'm saying? So it was in the process of me maturing and just learning how to navigate, you know what I'm saying, that prison system. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to figure it out, and I had to have a certain persona. That's the only way I was going to survive. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
right.
couldn't be, I couldn't be walking around, man, with, I'm saying, with my head down. I had to, hey, my chest up. Hey, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I think that's what helped me a lot. Helped me out a lot, man. Just having them old school, man, them old school brothers, man, like really, really breathe on me, and show me the way.
That, I'm telling you, it's just like when I listen, man, because we know the whole array of juvenile lifers, man. Even if we didn't know each other at the time, was a juvenile lifer. Now we see each other now, and we like, damn, I didn't know he was just like
Mhm.
me.
Right.
And we seen the trials and tribulation that each other be going through, man. And I guess, I guess for me, I really didn't care, man, because in my mind, I was frustrated, I was angry, I was, I was gone in my mind, man. I just I gave up in thought, but I always knew in the back of my mind that freedom was just waiting on me to come get it. And I didn't know how to go get it because my pride stood in the way. My pride told me to stand up and just, man, I'm gonna live the way I'm gonna live, and that's gonna be that. If it come my way, it come my way. If it don't, it don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that leads me to this question, and I'm asking the same questions of that was asked to me, man, because I remember them like yesterday when I
Mm-hmm.
got out and certain questions was asked to me. At what point in your prison bit did you make the ultimate decision to say, you know what, I'm done with prison, I got to go?
I know exactly when that happened, bro. I know exactly when that happened. I was it was in 2003. I was sent to Standards Max. So I was in maximum security. I was placed on STG2. I was in the hole. I had got caught, you know what I'm saying, caught a ticket at another joint that elevated me to a level 5. And I remember being in the hole, man, in Standards. I was in the hole where they had like a lot of mentally ill, you know what I'm saying, other brothers
Mm-hmm.
really, really mentally ill, you know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, man, um, like I don't even know how people even work there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because mentally, when you are placed in that type of environment, man, like you have to be strong. You
You
know what I'm
ain't lying.
saying? You hear things and you see things, bro, that as a human being we should never see. You know what I'm saying? Brothers, man, under like suffering. You know what I'm saying? And so you had to, you know what I'm saying? So while I was in there, it was like, that statement, man, my mind was playing tricks on me, man. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was. And I had a moment, man, where I was like, I had a conversation with God, right?
Mm.
And I looked around this cell, man. I'm on STG2. I'm in level 5, in the hole. All my appeals are exhausted. I have no money for an attorney, and I'm doing life without parole. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't get no worse than that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure don't.
In the state of Michigan. And so I just told God, man, I was like, this can't be it. You know what I'm saying? Like this can't be it. Like it can't end like this. You know what I'm saying? I want something more for my life than this. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you something, bro. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, after that conversation, I get a knock at the door. There's a sergeant at my door. She said, "You got some legal mail." And I said, "What do you mean I got some legal mail? I ain't got nothing going on." You know what I'm saying? She said, "You want it or what?" You know what I'm saying? So I get to the door, I get a letter, and it's the attorney, Deborah LaBelle. You know,
Right.
in that letter, she's saying, "Hey, we're doing a study on juvenile lifers. We believe that this is an unconstitutional sentence. Would you participate in this study?" And bro, that was like my light bulb just lit up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I got something I can hold on to now. You know what I'm saying? And so but I know that I got to move different now. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing I did when I got out the hole after that, the first thing I did was order me a typewriter. You know what I'm saying? I ordered me a typewriter, man. I taught myself how to type in the hole. And when I tell you, bro, I wrote thousands of letters. I wrote thousands of letters, man, about this juvenile stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? And I remember getting one response. I remember getting one response, man, from a sister, man, from an organization. And when she gave me that response, it was like all those thousands of letters that I had written, bro, was all worth that time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I at least knew that one more person out there understood, our plight, man, as children, man, that were sentenced to life without parole. You know what I'm saying? And I had sent her a petition, and she said I took it to my church. I got it signed. We sent it in. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And so, when I seen the results of work, I realized like, okay, I got something here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me start, let me start getting involved. And just educating myself, you know what I'm saying? And the more and more I educated myself, man, about, juvenile lifers, it was almost like the more and more I felt like negativity, like separating from it. You know what I'm saying? Like it just I just started moving different, bro. And it just worked out. You know what I'm saying? It really did, man. It's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like it messes me up sometimes to see how it actually worked. But
Yeah.
it taught me, man, that if you apply yourself to something, man, like, anything's possible.
See, 2003 was the year that I came, that I was first came knowledgeable of Deb LaBelle and her pursuit for juvenile justice. 2003. And I distinctively remember, man, you said it earlier. You said, I knew that something was wrong. And I studied this law. I just couldn't figure out what the hell but it didn't seem right that they could give a juvenile, a little baby, I don't care how bad he is, he's still a baby. How could they give a little baby life without parole in prison? Just throw him away. Something was wrong, morally wrong with that to me. And so 2002, I was at IMAX. I was about to leave IMAX, and my aunt, she had always been fighting for me. She was my oldest aunt, and she would call everywhere, send letters everywhere, and she all the innocent clinics and all of this. And the innocent clinic told her that maybe from what she telling them that maybe I can contact this group called ACLU because they fighting for juveniles. And sure enough, uh, my aunt got an application. They had applications back then, and she sent it to me, and I sent it back to Deb LaBelle, and it was then. But I changed my life in 1999. But it was then in 2003 that I knew. I knew that everything that I thought was wrong was actually wrong and was going to be proven wrong, and that I was going to be exonerated, not from the actual crime, but I'm talking about from prison. And so just knowing that for me allowed me to have a certain stillness and calmness in my heart. You know what I'm saying? We was young, true, but man, we was traumatized, heart beating fast as hell, because at the end of the day, we still had life without parole in prison, and we didn't know how we was going to get out. We just knew that we had faith that we was going to get out. And so what type of family support did you have when you was going through your prison sentence?
Oh man, that was that was like one of the most important things, man, to me, bro. I remember when I first started my bit, I always share with people, man, that the best possible advice, man, that an old head gave me, man, he was like, he said, "Don't let the world forget you." And I was like, I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Don't let the world forget you, man." He said, "When you communicate with people in the world, if they don't write you back, dog," he said, "all it takes, man, is 25 cents, man, to write them again, man." You know what I'm saying? He said, "Don't get caught up in the bitterness of people not writing you back, man, and to the point where you cut people off, because if you don't exist in the minds of the people in the world, you don't exist." You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Prison is not a real world. You know what I'm saying? So I took that advice, man, and I always maintained communication with people. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
as time was going by, not only was I maintaining communication in relationships, but I was also staying up with what was going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? So when the time came when I did come home, I wasn't always totally lost. You know what I'm saying? But it was very important, man. Like my grandparents, you know what I'm saying? My grandparents were the ones that raised me. They stood by me, bro. Like, man, my grandmother used to come to visit me in the youth home, bro, every single day. Those that
yeah,
were in the youth home with me, man, like they know my grandmother, man, in snowstorms and everything. She was there. You know what I'm saying? And the blessing of it is that she's downstairs right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was there in court when that life sentence, man, was undone. You know what I'm saying? So, since I've been home, like I could easily go and live by myself, bro, and go get me an apartment or a house, man. But I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? This lady, man, held me down. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
it's my duty to hold her down. You know what I'm saying? So, that family support, man, is very, very important, man, because I remember when there were gaps because it wasn't always gravy with family, you know what I'm saying? But when there were gaps, man, where you might have like not heard from somebody, man, on a birthday or a Christmas, like that was a scary feeling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because you know what I'm saying, that loneliness kicks in, man, like we're human, you know what I'm saying? And so, when we don't have that affection, man, that love from family, man, when we're, in our darkest moments, that can also play tricks on you, you know what I'm saying? And some guys, man, come home, man, with some really, really, man, bitter attitudes about that, and understandably slow, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But it was very important, man. It's very important. So I always encourage people, man, like you got to love one in there, man. It doesn't take much, man, to drop a little letter, man, a couple pictures every now and then, man, because that means the world.
you ain't lying. You definitely not lying there, because we always talk about, it's like when I talk to guys right now that call me from prison, and they be asking me, man, what's up with your cousin? So and so said he was gonna reach back. Tell them, man, all we asking for is some pictures, man. We ain't asking for no money, because we know in there, now that we're out here, we know even more how important just the letter is.
Yeah.
A letter. It ain't got to have no money attached to it. A picture makes it even that. It's like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
One small picture of them seeing that you doing all right, because it's them seeing you all right that makes them feel like they gonna be all right.
Yeah. It
Because I
gets more.
remember I used to think like that when my family, they always stayed in contact with me. I never was without support for 28 years in prison. And I think that's also a testament to the respect that you showed towards your grandmother. I mean, it's like my aunt right now that raised me. She didn't see me do some treacherous stuff for real with guns and everything, but she never heard me use a curse word
Mm-hmm.
because that's the respect that I have for her, right? And I think that's the testament. And that's not to say that that works like that with everyone, because some people's family members, they just start living their life.
Yeah.
And some of them was so young at the time that they grew up and they kind of grew apart.
Yeah.
I understand that too. And so when you start getting years behind you of knowing and feeling, I'm talking about after the Deb LaBelle
Mm-hmm.
situation, and you start knowing and feeling that freedom was it was right there. You may not be right at the doorstep of it, but you could see it now. How did your body and mind react when you start seeing the actual gates of freedom right before your eyes?
You know what it did, man? Like, I think, the restoration of hope, bro. You know what I'm saying? The restoration of hope, it opens you up for the healing process, right? So you start as a human being, man, as a man, as you evolve, as you mature, and now freedom is actually at your door. You know what I'm saying? The growth that takes place is the growth, man, that you recognize also, you know what I'm saying, that what you did, you know what I'm saying, and the accountability, man, the personal accountability, you know what I'm saying, like part of that growth, man, part of that, seeing that freedom also comes with that, you know what I'm saying, because we bear that burden, man, of the wrongs that we have done, you know what I'm saying. So um as that growth is taking place, I also recognize the fact that I cause harm, you know what I'm saying, and as I start moving forward, getting closer to that freedom, you know what I'm saying, I have to walk in a way, man, that I can somehow, as a human being, man, start repairing that harm. You know what I'm saying? And that type of harm may never be repaired. You know what I'm saying? But making amends with that. You know what I'm saying? So not, you know, when I got when Miller was decided in 2012, like literally hours after it was decided, I was called to control center. I was interviewed by a radio station, and the first thing they asked me, well, how are you feeling? I said, man, this is, what I'm saying, there's a victim, man, attached to my case, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not doing back flips, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disrespect their families. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that to them. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm happy that I'm going to get an opportunity to finally, live what life is all about. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I also have to be mindful of the fact, man, that there's some other people, man, here, man, that are also affected by this. You know what I'm saying? So just out of respect for them. But seeing that freedom, man, it was amazing, bro. Because it almost felt like freedom was reaching into the prison, and it was grabbing my hand and was pulling me out little by little. You know what I'm saying? Um, that it was just an amazing feeling, man. It just felt great. And because and then as I got deeper into the studies of the juvenile lifers, not only in Michigan but throughout the country, that also inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of states that were already ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
Michigan was late in the game. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of states, man, that were saying it was retroactive. Brothers was already getting resentenced and getting released. So that was giving me a lot of hope. It's like the momentum. I knew when I seen the momentum that was taking place around the country. I knew, man, this train ain't, you know what I'm saying? They ain't stopping this one. You know what I'm saying?
right.
This is
Yeah,
gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna fight it, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. But because and it's not about it's not about a win or lose thing, it's about a right and wrong thing. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
It happened the way it happened because it was the right thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the harm, had to be, we had to begin to undo, man, the wrong that was caused, man. And we're not it's not taken away from us as children and now men taking responsibility for our actions. You know what I'm saying? But you don't do that to kids, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't take away hope from kids, man. Like kids are kids, and we can be mad at the acts and the things that they do, but at the end of the day, man, they're still children. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
so, it's deep, man. It's deep.
And so I really like the fact that you talked about taking responsibility and accountability for your actions and not doing the somersaults and all that stuff. Because when I went back to court and they talked so bad about me, my attorney said that I had this foul judge. She said, you got more tickets than all of my clients put together. uh I told my attorney, just let me tell my story. You know what I'm saying? With no disrespect, your job is to state the law. My job is to tell my story. You apply the law to my story, and we give it to the judge. And I did that. And I mean, my attorney thought it was looking bad for me because the judge sided with everything the prosecutor said. Even when the prosecutor flat out lied and said, I've been in there all these years and I only got one certificate. I had 32 certificates. He failed to look. He looked over 31 certificates and only seen one. And so at the end, I tapped my attorney leg and Allison.
Mhm.
She was right there,
Okay.
and I just tapped him and I said, because I feel the energy. It's like when we was talking about that when Miller came out in 2012. It was
Mhm.
like a freight train was coming down the hill and it ain't have no brakes. Ain't no
Yeah.
stopping to it. We getting down now.
Mhm.
So when the judge came back and said that he was going to give me 32 to 60 years, my attorney asked me, she said, keep in mind that victim's family is in the courtroom and they said some bad stuff, said how they feel about me and all, even though I ain't even do the crime, but nonetheless, I take responsibility because I was sitting in that seat. And my attorney said, you ain't happy? I said, yeah, I'm happy. She said, I would think you would be jumping up for what?
Yeah.
That's like slapping them people in their face.
It is. It
And
is.
she did, and I understand that the attorney didn't mean it
Yeah.
like that, but we understand it like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
so
You have
there
to
was
accept
no
it
jumping.
with a sense of humility, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You could, because you're being returned something, man, that is so valuable, man. You know what I'm saying? Your freedom, brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, you can be happy about that it happened. You know what I'm saying? But there's a sense of humility, man, that you gotta carry. You know what I'm saying? During that process.
you said it best, man. Somebody's lost their life.
Yeah.
Somebody lost their life as a result of what I did or the environment that I helped create, which I helped create the environment that brought the about the untimely demise of the victim in my case. I created that environment over in that neighborhood. I
Mm-hmm.
know this. So I told the judge this, I told the parole board exactly the way I'm telling you. I take full responsibility for helping create the environment that brought about the untimely demise of the victim in this case. So
Mm-hmm.
and so and so and so. So it's important, and I want to ask you, how important was it to your sanity to accept responsibility and accountability for your actions? How important was that to your sanity?
That's a good question, man. I think why it was important, because it allowed me. It started me forgiving myself. You know what I'm saying? As a child, you know what I'm saying? Like, as adults, people, you hear music and people talk about, shooting guns and bang bang, shooting with bang bang. I tell people, man, that shit sounds good, man. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But when you as a child impose that on somebody, that's something that you gotta live with that shit, bro. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? What I'm saying? As humans, when you start to understand and respecting the sanctity of life, knowing that you cause harm to somebody, knowing that you put somebody in the position, man, that they lost their life, that's some serious shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it just allowed me, bro, the opportunity to forgive myself, man, for what, and it was forgiving that 16-year-old. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
was forgiving that 16-year-old man for, as a child, putting myself, man, through that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it was my actions, you know what I'm saying? And yes, my mind was underdeveloped, and yes, I was really just perpetrating what I saw in my environment. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
I was just doing, I was just getting along, you know what I'm saying? Because really I was a good kid. And those who know me when I was growing up, I used to go to school and just got involved with the wrong people. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So that was never me in the first place, man. You know what I'm saying? So that I think allowed me, man, to forgive myself, man. And as I forgave myself, it was just like liberating, bro. It was liberating. It's like, you know what, um, you know, you're taking responsibility for what happened. You know what happened. You know what I'm saying? I used to, like, sometimes when I first came down, I would explain it, but I was explaining it in a way where it was always kind of like putting fault on somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then I came to terms, like, you know what, as a 16-year-old child, no matter what happened, as a 16-year-old child, you had you have no right to be there in the first place carrying a weapon. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
Um, so that's when I was like, you know what, regardless of what happened, man, you know what I'm saying? I put myself there. It was my decision. And I had to take responsibility. And so as I got closer to that freedom, that was also a part of that process, man. Just coming to terms, man, with what I had did. Um, and just, living in a way, man, where I can make it right, man.
Yeah, see, me and JMO and us, we was at Macomb at the time, and we would have mock hearings and mock parole board hearings, resentencing here, all of this. And we were very, very big. And I'm talking, we wasn't pulling no punches. Guys was getting mad at us that we was cool with. We didn't care nothing about it because we was very big on accepting responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
Very big. I think that laid the foundation for a lot of the discipline that so many of us got out here right now, is that we accept the responsibility and we live with that responsibility. And one thing that I think about to this very day, I mean, it brings tears to my eyes to this very day. And this happened in 1995 and 96 when my mother passed away. I was up in level 5 up in Berg at the time. And then in 1996, my cousin Eric, who was the only guy who I ever looked at like a little brother, he got killed because I had him selling drugs with me when he was real young. And when I left, he continued and he ended up getting killed. And I think about that, but even more than just think about that, I think about his mother that helped raise me. And I try to tell these young guys today that you think that when you go to jail, that it's only you going to jail. It's not. Your mama going to jail with you. Your father, your little brother and sister, your sons and daughters, whoever is close to you is going with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I think about. My first order of the day before I got out, when I knew I was getting out and I knew the date and all of that, I was planning, because I knew I was getting out in October 2nd. I was planning a surprise birthday party for my aunt, whose birthday is October 4th. So I was in prison planning a surprise birthday party for her. So when I got out, they had a party for me, everybody there. So I'm like, we gonna party Saturday too.
Mhm.
My aunt came over Saturday, and I'm calling her. I said, Auntie, is you over there yet? She said, yes, a lot of people over here. I said, I know. They waiting on me. I said, they waiting on you too. I said, just go in the house and just let them know I'll be there. She don't know the party was her surprise birthday party.
Mhm.
But I do stuff for her to this very day because I realized that although she had 4 or 5 other children, I am that child that wasn't hers, that she already always treated like hers.
Mhm.
And to lose me for 28 years was devastating. I never wish that pain upon anyone, and I try to teach the young guys that you don't want. Stop playing tough. The hardest thing I ever did in my entire life, the hardest thing was trying to be somebody that I wasn't, because I always had to put on a show.
Yeah.
I always people who knew better, the real big bad guys who was putting on the show too. They
Mhm.
know I was putting on the show because they was putting on the same show.
Mhm.
But I had to keep my fronts up. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and the easiest thing I ever had to do was just be me.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
And
No, it's
that's
it's
when
tough
my
on
life changed.
it's tough on family, man. Like I remember I used to be a cameraman, man, up there in Saginaw. And so I would sit back, man, and I would watch like the young brothers, man, that was coming out here, man, on visits, and I was, seeing them come in, their moms and their kids, and it was tough, man, like watching that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because now, as somebody older, you're looking back at, you're making reflection on your own life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, man, like I put my family through this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like because it's tough on them. It really is, man. And now that we're out here and we're working and we're doing what we're doing, like we have a greater appreciation for time. You know what I'm saying? So when we look back now and look at the people, man, that took time out of their lives to come see us, like we know what it's like, bro, to work all week, man, and Saturday and Sunday, man, you want to just kick back and chill, but opposed to just chilling, they went and visited you. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely
Mhm.
have a greater appreciation, man, for those man that stood by me, man, throughout that time.
Hmm. All right, man. We're gonna fast forward this and say October 2018. It was coming up real quick. You in September right now, right?
Yeah.
What was your mindset?
Man, you know what I used to do every day, man? I used to have my little earbuds on, man, with my music, man, and I would go to the yard, and I'm talking about, man, I used to walk that yard, brother, man, for from the time they opened that yard to that time, and I did this 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? And so I was thinking, everything. I always describe it this way, man, like everything that I have ever thought about, every single fantasy about life that I ever imagined was now racing through my mind. Right? And
Yeah.
so now I'm thinking, okay, I need to slow this down. So how do I slow this down? And I started extracting what was no longer age appropriate for me to engage in when I came home. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those fantasies was the fantasies of that 17-year-old and the 18-year-old man that first came down of what he imagined life was going to be like. You know what I'm saying? So he's imagining all these great things and, all these women, that is no longer age appropriate. You know what I'm saying? So I had to discard a lot of that stuff. And then when I discarded all the fun stuff that I thought about, the only thing left, man, was to come out here, man, and become a responsible adult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and so, that's how I viewed it, man. It was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna go out here, man, and take on this challenge, man. Life is gonna throw at me, man, and do it with from a good place. And I believe in putting out that positive energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? I believe that the universe, man, responds to it. And so that was the mindset, man. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking like, damn, man, I'm really about to go out here, man. It was a trip, man. It was a trip.
All right, here are some fun facts. What was your first meal?
I went to what's IHOP, man, pancakes. And let me
Oh,
tell you real quick, man, when I went to pancakes, I'm sitting there. I ordered some pancakes. I think it was some eggs and some bacon and stuff. And my homeboy and his wife and my sister come get me, and all they could hear as I'm eating was the fact that these utensils are metal, so they're heavier than the plastic that we're used to eating in. So as I'm cutting into my pancake, all you hear is ting, 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 ting. Going to work, but I don't realize that I'm being real aggressive, man, with these utensils, man. You know what I'm saying? So that was like the first thing. But before that, the first thing I did was I stopped at the gas station down the street because I told him, I said, I want to stop at the first gas station because I want to exercise my ability to be free, man, and do as I please. I want to exercise that, man, as soon as I can, man. So the first place we see was a gas station. I said, let me get out this gas station, man, and we'll just walk in here. You know what I'm saying? And I walked in, I got me a coffee, and I played me a Powerball lottery ticket. Yeah,
Trying to win right off the
yeah,
bat.
man. Hey, man,
Woo.
luck's been on my side lately, man. So let me give it a shot.
Hey, you really would have been
Oh man, that'd have been
done bad had you won.
yeah,
Whoa,
that'd have been
woo.
some numbers there.
So, what was the your first job when you got out?
My first job when I first got out, what was it, man? Because see, my dilemma when I first came home was that I didn't have an ID. I didn't have a birth certificate.
Mm.
So because I didn't have a birth certificate because I was born in Puerto Rico, the MDOC, they would like, well, we're gonna order for you, and then on the day of my release, they didn't have it. And so
Wow.
when I go to the Secretary of State, I'm talking about, bro, my grandmother, man, keeps stuff, man. I had elementary school IDs. I took all type of stuff, man, to the Secretary of State, man. Like, this is who I am. And they were like, you ain't got no social security, you ain't got no birth certificate, man. You ain't got nothing coming. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
I had articles, man. I had transcripts, everything. You know what I'm saying? I said, man, you know what? I said, the crazy part is that if I walk out of this place right now and commit a crime outside of this place, when the police comes, they're gonna know exactly who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you are a part of the state, so both agencies work for the same state. So how is it, man, that I don't exist, man? You know what I'm saying? I just did a bit. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a whole year. So because of that, I had to work, you know what I'm saying, jobs that were, were paying me under the table. You know what I'm saying? So I think my first job, like one of my guys called me up and I was on a roof somewhere, man, like, taking off shingles, man. And, you know what I'm saying, doing some roof work, man. My love goes out to the roofers, man, but it wasn't me, man. It
Right,
ain't for me,
right.
bro. But
So
it did the job though, bro. I did what I had to do.
so when I got out, uh I didn't have my social security card or birth certificate either. But it was fascinating what happened. Allison and I forgot the other intern name at the time. They took me to Secretary of State, well, not Secretary of State, what was it, City Council building or something.
Mhm.
And do you know that they end up saying that I knew my social security number my whole life. My mother taught it to us because my mother was a scammer. So
Mhm.
all of the children, we knew our social security number just in case we got to use it to scam.
Right.
So I told them my social security number. Do you know they told me that and I used to have my social security card, everything, birth certificate, everything. They said that was never my social security number. So they gave me a new social security number.
Wow.
They asked me, asked my name. I told them my name, spelled it out to them, Demetrius. They said that's not the spelling of your name either.
Hmm.
They took the U off my name and now it's just IS. Gave me a new social security number. I'm thinking like, okay, good looking out because I know it was,
Mhm.
there was a lot of stuff on my social security number, right?
That's right.
And so they gave me a new name, new social security number, and now I got serious with it. I said, so that means that I was in prison under false name and everything.
Right.
So how could I be on parole when I'm not even that person?
Mhm.
And I told my parole officer that. And I started to get real serious with it, technical, because I studied law for 25 years. And I know that law, the cases are won and lost based on technicalities.
Mhm.
And that's a great technicality. But I left it alone. But anyway, so when you got out of prison, I think I seen you at a car lot.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Working at the car lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that car that was on Legacy Motors 3, man.
that's right.
This how I got that job. My friend, I had a friend of mine, man, a childhood friend of mine who drives. He delivers cars to the lots, and so he was delivering some cars there. I guess he knew the owner Mario, or the manager Mario. And Mario asked him like, "Hey, bro, I need like, somebody from the office, man, to work." And he was, man, I got the right person for you, man. So he gave me a call, and so Mario called me. I go down there, and then when I go down there, I'm like, listen, bro, I'll be straight up, man. Like, I just came from the joint. Um, I did 27 years, man. I don't know nothing about no damn computers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I said, and on top of that, man, I ain't got no ID, man. You know what I'm saying? So if you can work around that, bro, I really appreciate it, man. He said, man, I got 3 felonies, dog. He said, don't even worry about it, bro. You good. You know what I'm saying? He said, whatever you don't know, I'm gonna teach you. And and you're good. You know what I'm saying? Is, man, the next day, and then and another blessing that happened on top of that was because I didn't have an ID, I didn't have no transportation, I didn't have no license. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up finding another returning citizen. I found him a job doing detailing, and then he was giving me a ride there every day. You know what I'm saying? He said, the only reason I'm coming here, bro, is because you ain't got no ID, dog. He said, I don't want this job. I don't need this job. He said, but I'm gonna take it for you, man. You know what I'm saying? So the brother, man, like, he held me down all the way until I got my birth certificate. He was like, all right, dog, I'm out. And then he
That was
quit.
good.
Yeah. So that was a blessing.
The brother Walt say, what's up? What's up, bro?
What up? What up, Walt?
And so now I have a question concerning what was that, 2021? Uh you filled out an application to work for the state appellate defender's office. But I want you to tell the story because I remember you telling me this stuff before we even went down for an interview or anything.
Mhm.
You telling me the story of standing in the window and looking out. Tell the audience that story, man.
Man, I got the picture. Oh man, I got the picture downstairs, man. I had it in my office. Um, really, man, like when I went up there for one of the workshops. You know what I'm saying? I went up for one of the workshops, man, and I was looking out the window, man, and it was like in my mind, I knew, and I got not only do I got a picture of that day when I was doing that, but I also have that I brought with me from prison a composition book. In that composition book, I had like a list. I think it was like 10 organizations that I wanted to be affiliated with, and SATA was one of them. You know what I'm saying? And so, once I got out here, man, and once I was able to get a little transportation, and I heard about the workshops they were having there, man, I went there, and I was looking out the window one day, man. I was like, man, I'm gonna work here one day. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, it came over me so strong. You know what I'm saying? And so, not too long after that, they posted the job position for the project reentry, and I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, not thinking that you know what I'm saying. And man, it worked out, man. Like they hired me. You know what I'm saying? And I
And me
see
and
it.
you was
Me
the
and you
last,
was, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
last
yeah.
two candidates. So when I found out that I didn't get the job, I was all right with it. But I'm going to tell
Mhm,
you what I told somebody when I didn't get the job and I knew you got the job. I said I already won.
mhm,
I said it just like that. I said I already won. I
mhm.
said because as long as it's somebody that I know
Absolutely.
is out here and for real about this fight,
Mhm.
I win automatically.
No doubt.
I
No
can't I
doubt.
can't lose. Now, if
Yeah.
it was somebody that they go to hand picking
Right.
outside of the circle, now
Mhm.
we gotta look and be wondering what's going on, and we gotta be,
Mm.
being micromanaging that type of thing. But I was good. And
You
then I
know,
remember you saying this. You said, man, I'm still gonna need y'all, man. I might have to call up some of y'all
no
for
doubt.
some advice on this stuff, man.
No doubt.
Because
No doubt.
because we in this together.
No doubt.
So
And
I,
one of the things I think one of the things, man, that really did it for me at the interview, bro. I remember telling them, I was like, you know what? I said, Sato has done some amazing work here. You know what I'm saying? You guys have been responsible, man, for getting a lot of people out, man, and helping guys when they come home. I said, but as an organization, you are preaching to the world that they ought to give juvenile lifers a second chance, an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I said, and the only way you can really, really stand on that is by being an example of that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, um, we also have to have a seat at the table. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because it's all part of that creating that I'm talking about like a mega defense team, man, for the person, man, that's going through their process. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do it without that element. You know what I'm saying? You got to have
right.
somebody in there, man, that has been through it, who can understand it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things, man, that has made all the other people who are not formally incarcerated that do the work, they bring a lot of good value and passion into the work, but it has to be met, man, with real lived experience, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way it's going to work. You know what I'm saying? And I think
I agree.
that's the thing that's been working there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say we've always gotten it right. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. You know what I'm saying? You learn from that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think what's made it right, man, was the fact, man, that they have that, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully they continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's very important.
So now, how long did you excuse me, how long did you work at the state appellate defender office?
Um, Well, I started off part time. So when I started off part time, I did part time maybe for like a year. I ended up getting full time after Percy went to another agency, and then when I went into, like, I got hired, and it was December of 2019, and by March we went into pandemic mode. We were on lockdown.
Right.
We was working at the home. So another thing that I had to do was I watched a lot of YouTube videos, man, about how to operate, man, this computer, man, because I wasn't gonna get on that phone and be calling Sato every 15 minutes, man, talking about, hey, man,
Right.
how do I do this, or how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff, man, I ended up having to learn watching YouTube videos. Um, but altogether, it was 4 years, man. It was 4 years that I worked with Sato.
Man, that was great. So
Yeah.
what you do now?
Well, I haven't like publicly mention where I'm going, you know what I'm saying, yet, because I want to give them an opportunity to do what they do and how they do things. But yeah, I mean, actually, this is like the first time that I'm actually mentioning publicly that I'm leaving Sato. So today is my last day at Sato after 4 years. But I'm going to an agency, man, that does some amazing work, man. And so my time now is going to be devoted strictly on ending life without parole, you know what I'm saying, for children here in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing advocacy work right along with my reentry work. But now I get to focus more on doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because as you know, we're having a lot of hard times getting this, legislation passed. And I think we need somebody here, man, to be on the ground, fighting that fight and being, because everybody else, they got jobs and stuff like that, man. So a lot of times it's hard for a lot of people, man, to commit time to it. But now we have somebody, man, that's going to be dedicated towards that. So it's an honor. It's an honor, bro, to be placed in that position, man. It's a lot of responsibility. I don't take it lightly. And it's a lot of work. Like, the agency is based out of state. So I'm literally like the only person here from that company, you know what I'm saying, that agency, man. So it's going to take a lot of help from a lot of the brothers, you know what I'm saying, that's on the ground as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I look forward to it. I really do.
Well, I'm there. I fight with my eyes closed. I don't care if the system in front of me, I'm swinging. I wouldn't care if I knock myself out. I'm gonna swing though.
No doubt.
And,
no doubt.
So, but I got a question for you, man, because I was looking at some pictures a couple months ago, man. I come across this picture, man. It was me, you, and Pat. And
yeah, it was tough, man. That was tough.
That hurt, man. I was just looking at the picture, man, and I was like, that was the first real loss that we had suffered. A couple losses with Gammon Bay, who was killed on Gratiot. But Pat was different because we was like eating at the same table. It was almost like we slept at the same bed. We go to the same, we was everywhere at the same times. And so,
yeah, Pat had a lot of potential, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, when I first met Pat, I was at St. Louis, right? I was on St. Louis, and I'm in my cell. I just rolled in, and I hear this old slick talker, man, in the hallway. Southwest Pat. I'm from, I was raised in Southwest Detroit, so when I hear him talking about Southwest Pat, I'm like, man, who's this Southwest Pat guy, man? Because he out here making moves, and the more and more they was calling his name, I heard him get closer and closer to my cell. So then he comes to my door. He said, man, what up, bro? I'm Southwest Pat. I'm from the hood. I'm over here with the homie. He opened up the slot, man, and just started sliding all type of stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? He said, whatever you need, old school, man, we got you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was just always love, man. Every time, you know what I'm saying? Because we ended up at a couple locations, man, and it was always like just always love, man. You know what I'm saying? So when I actually seen Pat come out here, and doing the work that he was doing, man, I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro doing his thing, man. And it felt good, man, to see him in that light because he was allowing himself, man, Pat come from the mud, you know what I'm saying? Like Pat was from the hood, man. And as a young guy coming up, man, he witnessed, man, and was involved in a lot of stuff, man. So to see him try something different, you know what I'm saying? And it was actually working because Pat had that charisma. People love Pat, you know what I'm saying? But it was just that the opportunity that Pat was looking for, man, it just didn't open fast enough for him, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so sometimes, man, all it takes, man, is that little small window, man. And in that little small window, man, of you like trying to figure it out, that negativity, man, pulls you in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad, man, because he had a couple babies, you know what I'm saying? They're beautiful, man. It was something, man. It was that really hit me, man. I got that call that night, man, and I couldn't believe it, man. And I still I live right down the street from where this happened. You know what I'm saying? So every time I drive down there, I can't help but to always thinking about it. And the crazy part is, like, I remember him telling me one time, man, like, bro, stay off Southfield, man. Stay off. Don't be driving up in, you know what I'm saying, Southfield. I never know why he said that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now reflecting back, I realized that it's in an area where a lot of stuff has happened. You know what I'm saying? In some years, man. So. To know that he told me that once, and unfortunately, man, like he met his demise on that same street that he told me not to drive down. You know what I'm saying? So it was heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, that kind of brings me to our next brother, man. And you know who this is, man. That I received that call that Saturday morning,
Ah,
and
man.
Corey say, man, did you hear something happen to Danny boy? And I
Yeah,
said, man, don't tell me nothing like that, man.
yeah,
Corey say, man, I'm for real, man. I just got a call, and I ride past there every day, man. Well, not every day. I ride past there several times a week, man. And I can't even turn down that street, man, because you know, it's like having I had a brother taken away from me when I was 10 years old. I was 11 rather, 1984. But I was a kid then, right?
Mhm.
So I really didn't understand it. I really couldn't conceptualize it. All I knew it was a loss. I was crying, and that was as a child. But when you find a brother as an adult, that's your brother. I mean, your brother, and they take it away. It just hit me so differently, man. That it hit all of us differently, man. Because
Yeah,
I seen tears from so many people, man, and it was like we was back to, back to being children.
yeah, yeah,
That because many of us grew up around each other in that prison setting, or even if we didn't, wasn't at the same prison set facility together. The fact that we know each other, juvenile lifers, we know that we grew up in the same
hmm,
environment.
yeah, yeah,
And so to lose one of us, man, that right there, man, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I be devastated to this very day. I talks about it with my girl, through of my guys. All I keep saying, man, Danny boy, why ain't you just man?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been Danny Boy, man, at Macomb, man. He was my barber, man. You know what I'm saying? And we had got cool. Just we would sit there. And then I found out he was a juvenile lifer, man. We instantly made that connection. Um, and then to see him come home, bro, like and see him just like take off the way he was taking off, man. Like that brother was going places, man. You know what I'm saying? He was just a people person. You know what I'm saying? And he was just so like you can call Danny Boy, man, and like he didn't have to read no script. He ain't have, you know what I'm saying? You can call him, give him the mic, man, and he gonna do what he do. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew his subject. You know what I'm saying? He knew how to make that connection with people, man. And it was just dope, man. Just watching it, and to lose him like that, man. He didn't deserve that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like you said, like knowing that he was a juvenile lifer, we want so much, man, for each other, man, to for you to come out here, and then that happened. It's like, oh man, that hurts, man. You know what I'm saying? That really did, bro. You know what I'm saying? It just um, but I think it's also like a constant reminder, what I'm saying, to like check on each other,
Yeah,
what I'm saying, look out, what I'm saying, like just check on each other every now and then, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because um, it gets tough out here, man. You know what I'm saying? We're living in a whole different environment, man. The mindset is different. So we need to, look out for each other. I think, the MDOC, they like to, and I'm not here to, to bash the MDOC, man, but they like to boast about their recidivism rate, man, being so low. I don't believe that that's done because of what the
right,
MDOC is offering. The
right.
recidivism rate in Michigan is low because those who are formerly incarcerated are helping each other stay out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And you can't, and this is the crazy part because you have sometimes when there's a spike in crime, they try to blame it on the reforms, right? Well, you can't blame it on the reforms because the reforms, um, those who are, your numbers are telling you that those who are getting out after years of incarceration, which is what's letting the reform is a result of those guys coming home. You can't say that the recidivism rate is too low. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't because the recidivism rate is based on those who reoffend like in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't the guys coming home committing the crime. So don't blame this
right.
on you know what I'm saying. So we are helping each other out, man. We're helping each other out, and the reason why they implemented the new peer-to-peer mentoring program, it was based on that. It was because they finally recognized that us helping each other out is the main ingredient, man, that's keeping us out. We share
Right.
resources, we look after each other. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's why it's important, man. It's important, man, that we do stay connected, and they need to do away with the policy that says you can't communicate with somebody, man, if that person has been convicted of a felony. Then that needs to go.
That need to go. But let me put this in perspective for you. The recidivism rate is at a 30-year low. It's like 31 years, but at a 30-year low. Juvenile lifers, former juvenile lifers, have the lowest recidivism rate in the United States. We have 0.9, or it may be 1.0. That's our percentage. So we have the lowest recidivism rate in the United States. Long and indeterminate sentences, people who have served over 20 years in prison, fall into that same juvenile lifer recidivism rate at the lowest in the United States. And again, you made the point that it's not because of program that the government sponsored. It is because of the community that we built. So when brothers and sisters come home, I have had many people who say, man, I just was trying to find a group of people that I can communicate with, and I hear about y'all all the time. So I want to be right there because I'm not trying to go back. So to even use us in that sense to say that I want to be with y'all because I ain't trying to go back, that tells a story in itself. Because people who immerse themselves in the community that we have fostered, they don't get me wrong, the devil is always pulling at somebody.
Absolutely.
But we don't go back.
Yeah.
Because we know how to get on the phone and say, man, I'm pissed off, man. Man, look. And we'd be like, bro, chill out, man. Come on. Now you just want to go back, just go back. But don't use an excuse to go back. And we just for real with one another. I appreciate that about all of us, man, that we brothers, we realize that we are our brothers and sisters keeper, and we stand on that and hold one another accountable. I remember Danny Boy one day, he had gotten out. I went to go see him the day he got out. I went to see him at his mother's house the day he got out. And I remember he had got the job. He was doing the activism work that we do. And he was on Facebook, blowed.
Oh yeah,
man. We chewed that boy out, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that to say that this is how we hold one another accountable.
No, absolutely.
Because when you say you my brother, then this means to me that you willing to accept critique from me. And if I say that I'm your brother, I'm telling you that this means that I'm willing to take critique from you. No matter how rough or smooth it is, the fact remains is that I don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Because I don't care what you're doing in life, right or wrong. I don't want to lose you. And if it's something that I could say or do to pull you back, just let me know. All you got to do is let me know there's something going on. Well, if I peep something going on, I'm automatically throwing out my fishing rod to see if I can pull you back in, reel you back in, man, because you're getting too far out there. You know what I'm saying? Because I done found myself, I never experienced the water, got my feet wet doing nothing illegal out here. But I've had many of the thoughts, and I've had many people try to do that ride at me and try to reel me in. And I was bagging up to the ride too.
Yeah.
But I knew that in front of me was what I always fought for. That was the freedom. Behind me was what I was trying to leave. That was the devil, the devilish ways, and everything else that existed back there. So that's why it was so easy for me to get the hook out my back and throw it back to the guy.
Absolutely.
I'm good, man. I'd rather be broke and free than rich and watching my back.
No doubt. No doubt. I had a brother the other day, man, that I was talking to, right? And he had got upset at somebody else. And when he was talking to you, when he was expressing himself to me about it, he used, and I won't say the exact words, but he used a terminology of a violent act. You know what I'm saying? And I stopped him. I said, whoa. You know what I'm saying? I said, we don't talk like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I said, I know you don't mean it in literal terms. You know what I'm saying? I said, man, but we ain't even gonna play with those words, man, and just in passing by, because we know the ramifications, man, of the act. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we ain't even gonna, even if we get upset, I'm gonna do this to you. No, you're not. We don't talk that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I would just let him know, and he was like, "No, but and then he was explaining that, well, I didn't mean it that way." I said, "No, I understand how you meant it, but what I'm telling you is, get away from being used to speaking in that way." You know what I'm saying? Because the tongue is something else, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
It's
so
serious.
you don't even want to speak violence. You know what I'm saying? Even though you don't mean it in literal terms, it's because you know the ramifications of that act that you don't even talk about that. You don't even put that out there in the ether, bro. And then when I explained it to him, he was like, "Bro, I understand, bro. I get it." You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro. It's all
Yeah.
just, let's check each other, man. When we hear ourselves, man, conducting ourselves or seeing, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing wrong, man. We'll say, "Hey, bro, tighten up, man." You know what I'm saying? Like, don't forget, there's a lot of people in there, man, that'll give anything, man, to have this opportunity, man. Don't screw it up. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
screw it up, man. Don't screw it up, man.
Yeah.
It, and my last thing that I want to ask you about before we close is I know you be familiar with the news and stuff like I be familiar with it. And juveniles in the United States today in crime seem like they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is. I listen, man. My whole head be blowing up when I
Yeah.
see, especially when it's like this. You got 4 juveniles are being charged with the murder of 4 juveniles are being charged with the robbery and shooting of. I'm like, man, why can't it just be one person?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's gonna be somebody, why can't it be one? We giving the system, we taking a life, so now the community losing that life, and now the community about to lose 4. So they community just lost 5 people
Mm-hmm.
because our youth, and this is what you fight for. This was what I fight for. People tend to think we just fight for. We trying to get the people out of prison. That's good, but we trying to stop people from going to prison
Yeah.
because the more youth that we can stop from going to prison, the less Congress and them can use to say, see, this is why we not letting them
Mm-hmm.
other ones out.
Absolutely.
Because if we could show that these youth out here are learning, they growing up, they going through some stuff, but they growing up. They gonna make mistakes, but they growing up. Then now this helps the story of so many juvenile lifers who are locked up, so many second-degree juvenile lifers who are locked up, so many 18-year-old juvenile lifers who are locked up. This helped them in their defense to show how their brain was informed and they made irrational decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep looking at the news, man, every single day, man. And I'm like, I want to kick myself in the butt, but I can't because it ain't my fault. But I be trying to figure out what is it, and this is my question to you, my last question. What is it that we are not doing, or what is it that you think that we can do to help curb this trend of juvenile criminality?
I think, man, I'm when I was working on the east side, bro, every time I used to drive through the red zone area. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was working at over there, right? And I remember I used to drive to the east side, and every single day when I drove through this neighborhood, man, I would tell myself, man, I would hate to be a child walking out of one of these houses in this neighborhood the way it looks. You know what I'm saying? And so I think a lot of that stuff, man, is rooted in the poverty, man. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like those of us who are not living in it, sometimes it's hard, especially for like older adults who don't even live nowhere near it. They don't understand the effects, man, of that environment, man, what it does to a child, man, when he walks out of the house and this is his reality. You know what I'm saying? His
Hmm.
father's a person doing life sentence. His mother, she has a mediocre job. She's trying to get by, but she was a child herself when she had him. You know what I'm saying? So she already,
Wow.
is at a disadvantage. And so this is the world that we come into. You know what I'm saying? And so we come into a world as a child in this environment, and all you're being fed on social media and in the video games and in the music is kill, 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 kill. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, the sanctity of life is not even, that's not even being taught in churches, man. You know what I'm
So
saying? As far as just, taking religion out the way and just looking at each other, man, like the value of a human life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's not taught enough. You know what I'm saying? And so that combination with the poverty, man, it's a recipe for disaster, man. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. But I told somebody today, I think, there's definitely has to be more involvement. And it's easy to stand in front of a crowd of children and talk to them. But you got to get up and close, you got to get up there, man, and personal with these kids, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Brian Stevenson talks about proximity. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
you can't fight that from a distance. You know what I'm saying? There's certain fights, man, that you got to get in there, man, and right up with it. You know what I'm saying? It's the only way that we're going to solve it. If you are at home watching the news and saying, hey, that ain't my problem, you know what I'm saying? Then guess what? That problem is never going to go away. You know what I'm saying?
and see,
You have to make it your problem.
Miss Deidre Grayhouse said families lack the resources to help their children when they begin to go astray, and I agree
Absolutely.
so much, because this is what the system does, and this is part of what I open my show about, and I say that my show is about not just crime and punishment, or not just ending mass incarceration, or trying to end the school to prison pipeline, but I want to talk about how Black and brown communities are being infiltrated and hijacked.
Yeah.
The whole culture. Because and now we're talking about how entertainment and sports play a role in this. Because you have, for example, I remember when we was in prison, and all the boys in prison, all the bloods looking up to Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And guys coming to prison talking about Lil Wayne, that's their leader. Lil Wayne ain't shooting nobody though, bro.
Absolutely.
He talking about it, you doing it, you getting caught up in it. So now what end up happening is that the government, local and state government, is shutting down the school, shut down the community center.
That's real big.
And what does that leave?
Yeah, that's a real big one. Those centers are real big, bro.
So now you go back to when you was riding through that red zone, because I do it all the time. I'm over on 7 Mile and Gratiot every day. I ride through and I look and think the same thing you thinking. I'm like, man, but I look at it, I be like, man, I hate to see, especially my little sisters and the little children got to walk down these streets, these vacant houses, all the crackheads and drug addicts and drug dealers and all of the crime that's taking place, and you got these little babies out here. So now, what does the little babies have to look up to except the drug addicts or the drug dealers? And that's my story. So I know firsthand how the walls come tumbling down on you, because that's literally my story. That's all I had to look up to. I didn't want to be the drug addict, so I became the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? So Ms. Deidre Grayhouse says so many factors play a part of the destruction of our families, communities, and it seems to be no lifeline. Parents must continue to fight through parent involvement in the schools and begin to prioritize their involvement with their children at home. Man,
that's important. It's important. Like, parents have to get involved, man. Like, I know there was a time when parents talk about they try to give kids privacy, and that's cool. There's a level of privacy that children do, man. But you know what, man? I'd rather have my child, man, like, get mad at me if you want to, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna save your life. You know what I'm saying? If that means getting in your business, man, I'm gonna get in your business. You know what I'm saying? Because you're my child, you're my responsibility. And too often, parents nowadays they're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because the child is so, he's chilling in the room in his phone, he's being quiet, he's not being combative. You know what I'm saying? So they're they're missing out, man. The phones and social media, it's raising our children. You know what I'm saying? And so, their sense of reality, man, I can walk out here any single day, all day, and there's not one child on that street, man, playing. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
During the wintertime, there's not one child out there, man, shoveling snow for a couple of dollars, or in the summertime cutting grass. I can't find a kid out here to cut my grass for money. And so that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge problem. You know what I'm saying? Because it's doing something to their social skills. Oh man, it's it's the trip, man. It's
So
heartbreaking to see, you know.
So just for the viewers, we on our way. We got to get ready to close this out. And this was a beautiful show, man. And I definitely appreciate you coming on, man, because I told you, actually, you are the first person that I did any interview with on my podcast. And I'm gonna send you the link to the podcast. I got to edit this show, and then I'm gonna upload it to my podcast channel and on Spotify and iHeartRadio and all that other stuff. And but I appreciate everybody, and I definitely appreciate you, man. And as I said in the on your card at the picnic that day, is I love you, man. And I love the fact that you stayed focused and you staying focused, man, and you not forgetting about, because you got a few steps ahead now. You didn't forget about the people who still behind. I appreciate that, man. And on behalf of a lot of guys, because I tell the guys in prison who know you or may not know you, I'm like, man, we got some brothers out here that work at attorney office. And brother, we got some brothers out here that's fighting on y'all behalf, but we just need y'all support. We need y'all to chill out in there and get your family to come support us out here. That's what we need. And again, I admire your fight. I admire your wit. I admire your resilience and your determination, man. Thank you for coming on. And
Thank you.
Got any last words?
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, man. Like, it's been an amazing journey, man. And the way things have gone for me and many others, man, like it makes me look back now and realize, man, like it all makes sense now. You know what I'm saying? And I realize, man, that there's some things in life, man, that are not meant for us to understand. But life is good, man. And so, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it.
Can you say your name for the record? Because Ms. Deidre Grayhouse said, who is your guest?
Jose Burgos.
You got that, Miss Deidre Grayhouse? You gonna be on here too. You gonna be on here about your son, boss. Her son locked up for a crime he didn't commit. Been in there 20-some years. So anyway, we're gonna end the show, and I'm gonna end it with saying peace and love to those within the sound of my voice, and for those who cannot hear the sound of my voice, I'm asking that y'all please pass along the message because someone needs to be inspired. Peace, y'all.
Salutes.